All right, it's live. So what up, big my brother? How y'all doing to the people out there? You know, giving y'all another little live show. It's your boy Warrior Hebrew Perry. All right, it's live. So what up, big my brother? How y'all doing to the people out there? You know, giving y'all another little live show. It's your boy Warrior Hebrew Perry. Right, I had to fix that. That was kind of janky. Okay, yeah, this your boy Warrior Hebrew Perry giving y'all another live show. I got my brother Big L in the building. You know what I mean? Good brother, cool brother. You know,
Much.
no doubt, man. So back to what we was talking about a little earlier, man. You had a couple of questions concerning, the whole Israelite thing that I wouldn't mind answering, man. So let's
hmm
kind of like divulge back into that subject.
So my question was, if Edom, Bible was prophesied to rule over the Israelites, and this was the will of the Most High, why would they be punished now?
Right. Well, they was prophesied to rule over us, but the Bible also let you know that they went a little bit too far with their cruelty during them ruling over us in their kingdom. You know, they broke the agreement that the Most High had with them. You know, they just went too far in the levels of cruelty that they displayed. You know, the Bible lets you know that. The Bible lets you know that also they were supposed to let us out of this captivity, tell us who we were, and set us up over there in that land by 1969. Because according to the contract that God had with them, our captivity should have been up in 1970. You know, so they broke the agreement and they went too far. You know, they went too far with their cruelty. So that's why the Most High said, you know what? I'm gonna come and get them. You just hold on to them. That's why the Bible say they shall hold Israel to the very end. You know, now the Most High is gonna come and get us. You know, so it's a lot of reasons why the Most High is angry and why Esau will be
Okay,
punished.
yes. So he said 1970.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It was prophesied that Esau would have us in full captivity for 350 years. And by 1970, those 350 years would have been up.
All right. So I know it's bullshit because we're still in captivity, but wouldn't segregation kind of got rid of that? When you say captivity, what do you mean?
Well, basically, what we're under right now, us not having a country, us, them not telling the world who we really are, us not living as a nation, we're still in captivity to this day. The captivity, us being under Esau is still happening. It's still standing. You know,
Okay. Would you say Esau's the enemy of the Israelites, the biggest?
yeah, Esau is our biggest enemy. Is Jacob's biggest enemy. Yeah.
Okay. Other than Ishmael and the other
And,
tribes,
well, the other name,
nations.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
But we don't have any friends. Israelites, they need to understand that.
What
They don't
is
have.
there? Is marriage between different tribes of Israelites allowed? For
Um,
example, if a woman from Judah wants to marry a man from Issachar.
yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool nowadays. There was a time when we was in our kingdom that even though it was permissible, depending on the circumstances, it wasn't the norm. Normally,
Well, yeah, yeah.
normally people marry within their tribes. I mean, that would be the logical thing to do. But
Absolutely.
if things was the other way, if it happened differently, it's nothing to really frown upon, because we understood that the man carries the seed, the woman takes the name of the man. You understand? So it kind of works its way out in that sense. You are
Right.
what your father is. You know what I mean? So that kind of takes care of the confusion. You know.
All right. What about
Hmm.
an Israelite man wanting to marry a woman from a different nation, non-Israelite?
Right. That's also depends on circumstances, but that was something that was actually frowned upon. Especially by the people, culture wise. That wasn't something that was cool, and it wasn't something that was cool with God either. But there was instances and circumstances that where that could be permissible, depending on the circumstances. But for as a norm, no. That was not something that the Most High, even to this day, would approve of.
Even though, because of the father.
Right. Even yeah. Well, like I said, it's not really cool to do, but even in that sense, you still are what your father is. And if that happened with you, if someone's listening to the show or they watch the show later and that they're in that person and they're in that type of predicament, understand that you are what your father is. So if your dad was an Edomite, then you're more than likely an Edomite. If your dad was a Judite, but your mom was an Edomite, then you're a Judite. So you're good, depending on the circumstances.
How long will the rulership of the Israelites be when the Most High returns?
How long will the rulership of the Israelites be?
Yep.
Oh, it's forever and ever, because it just doesn't. It's not going to end when Christ's kingdom, when Christ passes the kingdom to the Father. It's still going to go on. You know what I mean? We'll be one with the Father. We're going to meet the Most High God after the end of that kingdom. Christ's kingdom will be on earth for 1,000 years. It will be a time when we will be perfected as a people. We'll be perfected because we're not worthy to meet the Father. That's why we don't know the Father. We don't know the Father's name. It's important that I tell the people that you must go through Christ to get through the Father. It's very important that people know that. You don't know the Father. You're not even worthy of speaking his name. So when Christ's kingdom, which will be for 1,000 years, that's where we will be perfected. And by the time that kingdom is ready to be passed on to the Father, that's when we will get to meet the Father. So, but to answer your question, it should be, as far as Christ's kingdom, on earth, it will be about it will be 1,000 years.
So after those 1,000 years, what happens? Is that known?
Yeah. After the 1,000 years is up, the kingdom is transferred to the Father. We are no longer physical. We shall be like pure energy, pure spirit. Man and woman shall have no distinction from one another. And we go into the Father's kingdom. It'd be many mansions there. It's a whole nother ball game after that. What happens to the other nations now? They are burnt out of existence. There's no reason for them to continue on after that point.
To exist.
Right. The other nations are not like us. We was made to be spiritual. They're made to be natural. So when they have no part of the spiritual, aspect of them.
All right. So I know the Bible doesn't answer all the questions as far as how the kingdom's going to work or why or how it's going to be made or whatever. What was the point of the Most High creating these other nations?
Well, the point and the purpose of the other nations was to serve Israel. That was
for those 1,000 years.
Right. That was always the
Okay.
from the very beginning.
All right.
That was
All right. Absolutely.
yeah, that was the actually the time that God gave man from the beginning to reach perfection. The children, of course, we know Cain killed Abel. Adam and Eve had another son, Seth, who mankind living today descend from. And his descendants was giving 1,000 years to reach perfection. So that has always been the plan and has always been the case. And we shall, eventually have that opportunity again when Christ's kingdom comes. But
All right.
to answer your question, yes, the purpose of the other nations has always been to be in servitude to Yasserala, or should I say Israel.
So for those nations, it's just the Most High was never with them to begin with.
No, they was cut off around the time of Nimrod. They was cut off. Those nations has been cut off from that time. Nimrod, there was a time when the immediate children of Noah, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, who the whole world descends from, and by the way, all three of those people were black people. There was a time when they was in good standing with the Most High. But with the coming of Nimrod, the Bible is very clear. And if you go into the history of Nimrod, you'll find out that he was actually Gilgamesh. And there's some history written down about him in the annuals of the Babylonian and the Samaritan histories. And but this Nimrod, he brought to the world a disobedience toward God. And a lot of people and nations, they followed behind him in that, and therefore these other nations has been cut off. It was always prophesied that this would happen as well. It was always the plan for it to happen that way. But yes, this is when Israel is spoken of by God to Abraham, letting him know, I'm going to give you a special seed that shall be my people. The other nations, they've been cut off from the time of Nimrod. They've been cut off. Nimrod, by the way, he would be considered Ethiopian today if he was alive.
So when they did have that connection, they weren't Israelites, but they still had a tie with God. God still had a certain I guess you can say
they was under. Yeah, they was in covenant. They was in contract with God. God made a covenant with them.
Okay.
It tells you that when Noah gets off the boat, he makes a covenant with Noah and his 3 sons, and they was in good standings with God. They understood God. They the law is it's not clearly stated in the Bible, but logic tells you that the law had to be around. They understood that law. They was making the proper sacrifices to God, and living according to the laws of God, so up to the point where it started to go against that, it was pretty much okay, So what God does is he breaks his covenant with them, and he begins a new covenant with Abraham and with a promised seed, which became Israel.
Mm-hmm. When Esau sold his birthright, was that trickery? The way he got his some would say he sold his birthright, some would say he got it stolen.
No, that wasn't trickery. What happened between Jacob and Esau was Jacob was making some soup, lentil soup or lentil pottage, and Esau was out in the field hunting. It's Esau's nature to hunt. White people like to hunt. They like to be out in the fields. That's their thing. He didn't catch anything. By the way, Esau and Jacob came from a pretty good, well-off family. They was pretty wealthy. He did not have to sell his birthright to Jacob just because Jacob had food right there. All he had to do was simply make something to eat. The resources was available to him. The purpose of the story is just to show you that Esau despised his birthright, meaning he cared nothing about it. Esau sold that birthright to Jacob for some food. Okay. and because he was hungry, he put more importance he put more importance on a moment rather than his future generations, and that's what happened.
Bigger picture.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So it gives you a depiction of a very base man, a man that is very irrational, a man that is short-sighted. You know, the worst of all the different human races on the earth. You know,
It's gonna be
he sold his birthright though. You know.
okay. So the number 140, right? That's the number 140,000.
144,000.
Okay. Is that the actual number, or is it more like a metaphor?
No, that's not talking about everyone in Israel. You know, that's just talking about pretty much the government that's going to be set up in Israel. You know, that 12,000 shall be the best of the best. That's the government.
Mm.
But it's no, the Bible tell you it shall be an innumerable multitude that shall be saved. You know,
Mm.
so
it's not just going to be 140,000 Israelites.
no, that would pretty much be that would be the government of Israel. 144,000 men shall be the governing body of Israel.
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you're saying. All right.
Yeah, in the kingdom.
Because I was about to say that's a lot of Israelites that got to go if it's only going to be 144.
Right. No, it's actually an innumerable multitude. It shall remember Israel is scattered into all nations. You're gonna have Israelites coming from Thailand, Cambodia, Africa, all over the world. They shall be of different nations and of different tongues. They're gonna look, you know, like.
What part does the Vatican play in? Because everyone did the Israelites dirty throughout history, right? All nations.
Right.
What was the Vatican's involvement in the Israelites losing their identity and all that?
Well, the Vatican just works as the spiritual arm of the body of Esau. The Bible describes the body of Esau as a huge red seven-headed dragon in the Revelations. Each head represents a country that had dominance at some point in time during their prophesied rulership. The first one would be the Macedonians, who adopted the name of the Greeks after they defeated them. You know, the second head would be the Romans. Then it tell you that this second head was wounded as if to death. You know, that's going into the time period when Rome fell and Israelites once again started ruling the earth again. They started ruling Europe. They was ruling Africa. They was ruling Timbuktu. They started ruling again. And then it tells you that that head came back to life. Now we go into the renaissance of Esau, or the Edomites, where they're coming back into power as prophesied. You know, so the third head would be the Spanish, the fourth head would be the French, the fifth head would be the German, the sixth head would be the Russians, and the seventh head would be England or the British. And it tells you out of that seventh head came forth a eighth head, which would be America. It also lets you know on top of these heads were 10 crowns. These crowns represent the 10 banking families that actually run the whole thing. It tells you that these crowns represent a king that is ruling but has no set kingdom that they rule from, meaning they're ruling from the shadows, so to speak. So in a nutshell, when you're talking about the Vatican and the Pope, that's the spiritual arm of that so-called dragon or beast or race of people who's ruling the earth again. What I mean by spiritual arm is the Pope is giving a task to do on this earth, spiritual, Levi's, his job is to put spiritual curses on Israel, on the Israelites. That's his job. When he dies, he reports back to his master in the spirit, and he tells them, I've done what I was supposed to do. And, you know, we're supposed to be doing the same thing, but in the opposite effect as far as we're concerned, you know, but that's their job, to put spiritual curses, to curse Israelites. That's why I tell my Latino brothers and sisters that's into that Catholic shit, every time you think you're going to see the Pope and the Father and all that, he's putting curses on you. That's why those countries, and that's why your conditions are so bad.
Word. Would you say the Catholics and the Vatican embodiment of evil?
Right. Well, right now, yeah, because that's who Satan is fucking with. See, now these other groups of people, they have their priests that also worship Satan. No different from the Vatican. Yeah. But it's the Vatican is the spiritual arm of Esau, who is in power. So it's only right that Satan would be dealing with them more so than the voodoo priests in Africa. He's dealing with them on a higher level than he's dealing with them right now. Even though he still deal with the voodoo priests in Africa, he deal with the voodoo priests in East India. And they're all in agreement to bow down to Esau. They all worship demons, and they all have a spiritual arm. This is the particular spiritual arm of the white man, the so-called white man. This is Esau's spiritual arm. It's the Vatican. It's the Pope. It's the Catholic Church, you know?
And the synagogue of Satan would be the Jews, the so-called Jewish man of today.
Yeah, because just like Israelites are broken into 12 different tribes, Esau is broken into different tribes as well. I believe they have 10 different dukes, or maybe 12 different dukes, you know. But one of the dukes was out of Esau was a cat named I forget the name. Amalek. Amalek was one of the dukes of Esau, and Amalek would be who people consider today Israelites. They took it upon themselves to falsely call themselves Jews or Israelites, you know, so, or Jewish people or Israelis or whatever. So yes, that is Amalek. He is one of the dukes, and he is prophesied to be the chief duke of Esau, meaning out of the different tribes of Esau, he will be the head of them all.
The Khazars.
Yes, Khazar is another name for them, but their original name, their biblical name would be Amalek, or the Amalekites.
Okay. So they pretty much took the heritage of the Israelites.
Right. Yeah, they used.
How were they able to do that without Was it written out throughout history?
Yeah, it is recorded in history. There's all kind of historical figures who have pointed it out, even amongst their own people. There's a book called The 13th Tribe. I forget who wrote it, but he explained how it's impossible for those people to be the actual Israelites. There's a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, written by a young black scholar, who shows you that it is also impossible for them to be the people. There's countless famous figures. Hitler is known as saying to say that you know, those people are not the true Jews. The true Jews are actually Negroes. You know, Abdul Nasser, who was the president of Egypt during a time when Europe set them up to set up that state called Israeli over there. You know, even he said, you know, how did you leave here black and come back white? You know, you will never be accepted over. So yes, it is. You know, it's written time and time and time and time again throughout history that those people are not the true Israelites. And even when you read the Bible, your logic will tell you that they can't be the Israelites, because we know that the Israelites they they often blended in with Hamites and was confused with Hamites. And we know that Edomites and Hamites and white people, they don't look alike.
Not at all. It's funny you bring up saying that the Negroes are the true Jews. I don't know if it's a historical fact, but there's sources that say Hitler actually had a meeting with some of his people and played a video that pointed to the black man in America being the true Jews, and that America is cursed for not knowing who they have in America.
Right. Yeah, I could totally believe that. I mean, I've seen articles where Hitler is quoted to saying during the Olympics when Jesse Owens ran, in the Olympics, with him quoting and saying there's only one Jew in that race, and it's Jesse Owens.
Mm. But if he did believe that, because Hitler, he wasn't prosecuting black people during Nazi Germany, but they were looked at as inferior.
Well, Hitler's thing, my take on Hitler in a nutshell, real quick. Hitler was the type of Edomite that understood what it was, and he did not want to play along with the rules of the elite. The rules of the elite is we rule in the shadows. Hitler's thing was, we're going to rule as the fucking devils that we are. We're going to do this out in the open. I don't give a fuck who likes it and who doesn't. And it is what it is. And by doing that, he lost his financial backing that the international bankers, who was established even at that time, they withdrew their backing from him. Other countries got rich because of that. But he, under their tutelage, yes, he would have been a very destructive force for everyone on this earth, but he rebelled against them. And yeah, so they're in charge. They're the ones who came up with a lot of false narratives concerning Hitler. I think he got a bad rap, to be honest with you, but he was just a devil that wanted to rule like as in the open with it.
Okay. Because he looked at black people in Germany as inferior. He actually looked down upon. If you were, because a lot of black people served in Germany. He would call them, I forgot the exact name, but he would call them bastards, something and bastards. If you were half black and half German. That's my only question. If he knew that the black man in America was a true Jew, what about the ones in Germany?
Well, that's my whole point. Like, I mean, back then the people knew a lot better than they do today. Especially in different parts of the world. I mean, the mentality of the people was different. You know what I mean? You had guys writing books. There's a book, I believe the name of the book is called Our Darker Forefathers, and it was written like in 1906. And the guy is showing you how the original names of the original inhabitants of Europe had to be black. So they would go into these type of things more often back then. The information was less watered down as time progresses. You know what I mean? But
you're saying they were more blunt with the truth. They'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was certain truths that was just it was considered ignorant in America, but to the rest of the world, it was known truths. Like if you ever seen a movie Django?
Word.
Scene in Django where the German fella who was the retainer for Django's homeboy, the German dude, he asks DiCaprio, who's a Southern redneck with money, what do you think because DiCaprio says, in one time in the movie, that he's a big fan of the Three Musketeers. So he said, what do you think the author of that, book, what do you think he would say about the conditions of slavery and the way you're treating blacks here in America? And he, and DiCaprio, he pondered on it and he said, I think he would agree with how we treat our slaves here. And then he said, that's odd considering the fact that the guy was actually black himself. So,
word. I do remember that.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, people from Europe and the rest of the world, yes, they've always been a bit more, intelligent than, American, so-called American white educated people. We went through a whole period here in America where everything was just totally whitewashed. And they did the same thing in Europe too, but just not to the same degree that they did it in America. You know what I mean?
And America knows a lot of the hierarchy of America knows, but of course they'll never put it out. They don't want the black man to rise.
Yeah, whatever. But but for the most part, speaking about Germany and Hitler, and that's my take on that. You dig what I'm saying? Like Hitler just wanted to rule as the demon that he was. And
Okay.
Of course, the elite, they had a problem with that. It wasn't gonna let that happen. So they withdrew all financial backing from him and poured it into countries like America and England and the countries that with the fight against him. And because at one point in time, America didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these other countries, they could care less what the fuck Hitler was doing, So, you don't fuck with the elites, the bottom line.
Yeah, don't you find it funny that the Khazars got kicked out of every country they've ever been in?
Yeah, and then let's point that out too. Another fact about the whole Germany beef with the so-called Jews. Another, nice fact about that is that the Jews, those so-called Jewish people, were actually bankrupting Germany. They were robbing the Germans. They was taking their money. So Hitler rallying them up to want to do what they did. It wasn't it wasn't hard for him to do. I mean, these people was actually in charge of, giving out loans, and they was starting to control the finances of Germany. And the German people had a problem with that. So let's point that out as well. Like you said, wherever they go, it's the same scenario. You know what I mean?
All right, my bad. All right, you can continue. Sorry.
Right, no, I'm just pointing out that fact real quick. That the so-called Jewish people was actually robbing the Germans.
Yeah, the bankers in Germany people under recession. Those Khazars were the ones who started what's called usury banking. They exploit the people for their own agenda. That's why Hitler has such deep hatred for Jews, even though some sources would say that he was Jewish. But I mean, I don't know about all that. What do you think? You think he was a Khazar?
I mean, it's possible, but they saying that on his mother's side, he was Jewish. And, the Jewish people say that you are what your mom is, which is total opposite of what the Bible says.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all kind of stories about, Hitler.
Well, how'd they get that mixed up? Is that because of the Talmud or what? Did they just adopt that where they think the mother is the one that decides what nation you're from, what tribe?
Well, that's the beauty of the Bible. People get a lot of things in the Bible mixed up, not just them, but all kind of different groups. You will always have the Bible. The Bible will always be here. it doesn't change. It will be what it is. So no matter what you say, it will break into a million pieces when you put it up against the Bible. And that was just their little propaganda. That was their way of putting a spin on the Bible or whatever. That is really, 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 really easy to refute. You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of people get away with that because most people don't care about the Bible. Never read it.
Do you think a lot of these Khazars know they're not really Jewish? Because I've seen debates between them and Negroes on the street, and you can kind of see it in their faces. Like, damn, these guys kind of have me figured out. They're knowing, they know the scripture better than me.
Right. They're automatically defeated. They're defeated before the Israelite guy even opens his mouth. I mean, the fact that they call themselves Jewish alone shows that they're not real Jews. So I mean, like I said, it's too much information out here now. We're in the information age. There was a time back then when they can get away with lying and shit like that, but no, it's clear once if you're interested in that subject and you really want to know the truth about it, then you can find that out in 5 minutes and see that they're clearly not the real Jews.
So do you believe 100% without a doubt that the black man in America is the real Israelite?
Yeah, I believe that 100% without a doubt. Yes, I believe it. Is there 100% without a doubt evidence? It depends on how you look at it. The only thing absolute when it comes to education is math. You understand? So there's no absolutes with anything. But logically speaking, when you really put it all together and you really look at it from an unbiased standpoint, yes, I would expect everyone to come to that conclusion that the semblance of intelligence.
Yeah, because I mean, there's way too much prophecy that fits the black man in America and the Latinos for it to just be a coincidence.
Right, and that's pretty much my bottom line. What actually wins me over is that too much.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, man. But I love having these discussions because these type of conversations and discussions it's become rare on the internet. You know what I mean? This is not even a teaching. This is just simply a
it's needed. It's needed for sure.
Right. So anything else you wanted to know about Big Bro? It doesn't matter what it is. We can,
Word. Okay, let me see. Would you ever debate a Jewish scholar, a Khazar?
I would debate a Jewish scholar and a Khazar, but my aim is not to debate Jewish scholars and any scholar for that point. I would much rather get people that are more qualified than me when it comes to debating. And I would like to set up a debate between one of these brothers.
Okay.
Like one of my brothers, like a brother like a James Cassell, or my brother D Red, or my brother Carl Albert. I have a lot of brothers that are very skilled, and they're built for the whole debate thing.
And shout out to D Red, bro. That's a knowledgeable brother as well.
Right. I'm a very skilled debater, but there's guys out there that's better than me when it comes to pinpoint precision, really taking somebody apart.
Yeah. So you brought up D Red. D Red strikes me. I asked him before because he seems like he's an a Pan-African. Pan-African. He believes that black people around the world are his people as well. But he's still an Israelite. What's the difference between what he believes and you believe, as far as that?
There's no real difference. D-Red just what D-Red has done is he's pinpointed the Israelites that are in Africa. So he more or less specializes in Africa, which is only right because that was the place that we were at right before we came here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's an Israelite brother who chooses to focus his energies on what were we doing when we were in Africa, and what he has found is Israelites in Africa, and he just builds with that. You know what I mean? That's one of his main things. That's where the fact that he's an RBG Israelite comes from.
Yeah, that makes sense because before the Israelites came to America, they went to West Africa.
Right.
Okay. So the only tribe that I know in Africa that are considered Israelites are the Igbo, the Ibu, something like that. Do you know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Igbo.
Igbo. There we go.
And there's a lot of evidence showing you that a huge percentage of the population of so-called Igbos are Israelites. You know what I mean?
Okay. How big is that population in Africa?
I mean, I would say about 60, maybe even 70%. You know, Nigeria, period, that area in Africa, because Nigeria is not too far away from those people. Nigeria, period, has a lot of traits of Israelites. You know, I've noticed me living in New York City, I'm around a lot of different Africans. I'm very familiar with Africa and African people, studied it for years. And I've noticed that their views on Nigerians is very similar to their views on African Americans, you know, and Nigerians tend to stick out and shine in ways that Negroes here in America stick out and shine. You know? So,
Okay.
you know, that wouldn't surprise me based off of that. And once again, this is not something that, you know, I didn't use. I don't have to test this in a lab or anything like that. It's just pure logic.
Word.
And it's just based off of what I know in my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are the tribes? Do you know about any other tribes in Africa?
Like I said, there's certain brothers that are very good with that. You know, there's a brother in the chat right now, my brother, David Worrell. He's, you know, he maybe knows something about that. Some popular Israelites that go deep into that is guys like Sakari. You know,
Okay.
we got his little Sakari group. He goes into that pretty deep. That has never really been my thing, pinpointing the Israelites in the different, you know, countries of Africa and the rest of the world. You know what I mean? I see it, but you know that I don't. You know, that's not really. I just deal with the, you know, just the fact of the matter. You know.
Would you say the biggest is in Nigeria?
Outside of America?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. I couldn't take the liberty to say that. But I would say that Nigeria is a major hub, though, outside of America for Israelites. I would say that.
All right. Give me 1 second, right?
So what's happening, family? In a minute, after me and my brother finish, because you know Big Al, he's a very curious brother. He's a good brother too. He's of Dominican and Mexican stock. You know, we're gonna open the mic up. Put the link out there for y'all. See who else want to come in and kick it. You know.
Yeah. I appreciate my brother Perry giving me the time right now and answering my questions, man. So, you know, much respect.
Right. We got a couple of brothers watching, so you know, open the mic up, see what.
All right.
But yeah, Big Al, but let's finish our discussion, baby.
All right.
Good interviewer, man.
Repeat that. What'd you say?
I said you're a good interviewer.
Oh yeah. I'm just curious, man. I'm just trying to, you know more about this than me, so I always gotta double check.
But you got them journalist skills, man.
All right. I'm asking you a more personal question. Right? How'd you get in contact with them Kemetic brothers? How'd you first get in contact with them?
Shit. One day I was in the crib chilling. I used to get on the internet and shit. This around the time when YouTube first started really popping. And I had already gotten to the Israelite thing off of Public Asset TV. I used to see a lot of videos on there. And once the internet started popping off, I noticed that Sinetta stood out. Now, the thing about Sinetta is I would always see him, but, I just never really paid it no mind. But I would always see Sinetta on 125th, representing the RBG and all of that. But I didn't really care. Like, it just wasn't my concern. Now, around the time when things started becoming my concern, I noticed that he had a platform that was promoting interaction between these different groups. And that was something that I was kind of on, mentally wise. As it progressed, I noticed that he became more accessible because he was right there. So I think I seen a couple of videos that they did on 125th, and I disagree with what Tahuti was saying as far as black men can breastfeed and things like that. And I just wanted to go down there and tell her that, you do know that the men produce Y and X chromosomes and women produce just two X's. And that's how I kind of like
Yeah, I don't think that's scientifically proven that you can breastfeed as a man. Is that possible? I don't think so, right?
I don't know, man.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah. It's just a nigga trying to entertain the people, But of course, I didn't know that. But it's all good. I was a bit naive in my approach toward the so-called black community. But since I've been dealing with them, I've come across a lot of real brothers and sisters in that community. You know what I mean? Real good people.
What do you think about Brother Sabak?
Brother Sabak, I like Sabak, man. Like his whole persona on camera is great. I think me and Sabak can make millions and millions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I just dress him up right, you know what I mean?
Oh man, come on.
Give him the right budget. Sabak could be a monster out here, man.
Yeah. Because he's good with that Bible, man. He's quick. He's witty.
Yeah, he could be a monster out here, man. Because he got the right philosophy, man. He got the right approach too, the way he's handling his business. I just think it could be upgraded. I think it needs at least 20 upgrades. But that's just my opinion.
The reason I'm asking you about him is because I seen him in Venice Beach not too long ago.
Oh shit, why?
Yeah, he comes to Venice Beach.
Yeah, he go out there a lot, man.
Yeah.
Go out there a lot. Venice Beach is like some popping area in California, huh?
Yeah, word. Right. Are you associated to any camp at the moment?
Yeah, I will always be associated to the original school, which is known as the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. I will always be a part of that. That will, that's my association.
At the roots.
Right.
Okay. Man, so all these camps are right here split from that, because I've noticed all of the leaders who have their own camp came from there.
All the leaders that had their own camp, they came from there or came from the school, or just came from there. Yep, absolutely right.
All right. Yeah, man. I really appreciate this, Barry.
No doubt.
No, you're a cool brother, bro. Ever since I met you, you've been straight with me. I've been straight with you, right?
Right. You know how we do.
Right.
If you wanna if you have a YouTube channel and you wanna upload this video to your channel, you can upload it, monetize it, do what you want to do.
Oh, well, word. I was gonna ask you about that after, but
Nah,
yeah,
you
definitely,
yeah, I'll let you
definitely,
know that
bro.
off.
Yeah. Of course, I'm gonna link you to it and everything. Make
Right.
sure everyone knows.
Right. This is a joint venture.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If anybody who's watching, bro, wants to join in, man, it'd be nice to talk to them too. Get
Okay, what I'm
their
gonna do is I'm
perspective.
gonna put the link out. Maybe D-Ray, maybe a couple of people might come in and talk to you. I'll mute my mic and let the folks, say what they want to say.
All right. In the meantime, can you give me like 2 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I'll do what you do. It's cool. Yeah, he is a flat earther 118. No, he's not a flat earther. He said he's undecided on that. He's a bit undecided on the whole flat earth thing. But I put the link out there for y'all. So if y'all wanna join the conversation, y'all could. We could talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. You know what I mean? I'm off from work today. I got a little time on my hands, so I figured I'd do a little live stream or something. Anybody want to join, they could join. But yeah, that's the brother. He's a good brother. I noticed that he had some good interviewing skills. So I figured who would be better to introduce me to the people than this brother. So I let him go ahead and give me a nice little interview. So while we wait for the brother, I'm gonna entertain the folks with a nice little song. Fuck it, I'll play something for y'all. I ain't looking to make no money off this particular video anyway. So I'll play something for y'all. Well, I guess I'll play any requests from the people. Anything in peculiar. Okay, D-Red just joined the call.
Yeah, shout out to that boy D-Red, yo.
Right, D-Red just came in the building. It's always a good thing. My brother D-Red, he's gonna be out here soon too, taking over the airwaves.
Yeah, bro, I like the energy in here, bro, because I've been on YouTube for a minute, but I've never been able to, connect with other brothers and shit. So it feels good being around my people and shit.
Yeah, man, no doubt. You know what I mean? Like I said, this whole internet thing is cool. It can be lucrative, and I'm pretty sure in a little while the culture vultures are gonna swoop in and try to capitalize off this thing that we've pretty much built up. I know I was a part of it. You know what I mean? So it's money to be made, and there ain't nothing wrong with making money. You dig?
Yeah. Yo, D-Red, what's up, bro? You in here?
Shit, what it do, baby?
What it do, man?
Oh, Kool-Aid. Just listen to y'all boys go in, man. Chop it up about them fake Ashkenazi show called Jews, man.
Yeah.
AKA the small hats.
All right, so D, since you're in here, I'll just ask you instead. What differs you from the other Israelites? What makes you different in your beliefs?
Hold on, hold on before Red speak. Everybody mute their mic. Somebody talking. Yeah, Red.
Oh no, what make me different, man, is I'm I'm a renegade, man. You know what I'm talking about? So that means uh I became Israelite just uh first time my homeboy had been telling me that for a long time, and I was into that chemistry shit. So I really wasn't trying to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, yeah.
And so shoot, finally I went with him to Nigeria, man. You know, he been telling me I was an Israelite since we was kids. And went over there, met with his clan and talked to the people, and shoot, I realized, I did my little, I was into the whole DNA thing too, so I did my DNA, and they said I had Igbo and Ashanti, and you know what I'm saying. So I mean, shoot, you did, you find out that Ashanti means people of Ashan. You know what I'm saying? Ashan was, an Israelite group or clan or whatever you want to call it. The Igbos, it was saying that they was Israelites. So shoot, I had Igbo and Ashanti, so it was just natural progression to me. So I came back, did a little research, but did a lot of research because I ain't believe it. And the more I studied and researched it, I found out I had more uh, affiliation with them than I did Kemet. So what the hell am I doing dealing with this Kemet shit for? So I just left it alone. So that was it.
Because when I first met you, or not when I first met you, but I remember asking you uh, about Africa and shit like that, and then you told me you're an Israelite. That's what kind of Israelite you are. So, like, because I see your green, black, and red flag. So I'm like, is he a Pan African? Is he an Israelite? Is he a Kemetic brother? Like, what is it?
Nah, I mean, shoot, my great grandmother was a Garveyite. My grandmother was a Garveyite. My grandmother, did the whole marching with King, Deacons for Defense thing. She did a whole lot of, stuff in Memphis and in the South period. So, I mean, I grew up understanding and reading the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey. I grew up doing that. Uh, I became I was a Pan Africanist before I was Israelite. And then once I started doing my research, like I said, I started studying. I realized Israel sits on the African plate according to plate tectonics. So I didn't have to give up my RBG or my Garvey stance just because I'm an Israelite, because Israel's a part of Africa. I mean, that's just fact.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
So
Sits on the landmass of Africa. So
yeah, exactly. So
technically, we're all Africans.
exactly. So I was like, shoot, I don't have to give up my Pan Africanist stance because Israel, the Israelite tradition, is just one of many African traditions. So I mean, I had to get it up. So I mean, I just kept my RBG stance.
And I'm more along the lines of that philosophy, D-Red. This is why I like talking to you, bro, because how I see it is whether you're an Israelite or Kemetic or some African dude in the tribe somewhere in the forest, you're still black. You still fall under the original man.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. And the reason why I've been trying to chill out with the banging shit on each other, as far as not hating, hating Africans or whatever case may be. Some people be saying is because before Europe unified, they was doing the same beefing till they got tired of the Moors snatching up their women, raping them, whatever the hell they was doing. And they band together and said, we coming up under the banner of Europe. We European and we white, and we finna come under the banner of whiteness. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And we finna take this bitch over. Whereas I see niggas going wrong is we ain't learned that lesson. Dr. Claude Anderson tell you supposed to look at other groups, you know what I'm saying, and emulate them. But we're not doing that right now. We got to look at these other groups and realize the same color, same team. Period. You know what I'm saying? Now we can sort the other shit out later. You know what I'm saying? But at this point, we got to come together, same color, same team, because that's what they did. They wasn't no more because France hated Britain. Britain hated France. France didn't like Spain. Spain ain't like Germany. Italy ain't like none of them. You see what I'm saying? Greece didn't like, so like they all hated each other. Denmark, you know what I mean? They didn't like the other ones because they felt like they were the purest white because they had never been conquered by no Moors. So all of these different areas couldn't stand each other when it came to white folk, but they came together under the banner of being white. But Negroes, we so busy trying to embrace people that don't look like us, but embrace people that but diss the people that look like us when they're supposed to be same color, same team.
Yeah, that's why I got much respect for Louis Farrakhan for putting the Million Man March together. Because when you go to, I've never been to it, but when I've seen, there's Israelite brothers there, there's Muslim brothers there, there's Kemetic brothers there, there's everybody, Hispanic brothers.
Yeah, I mean you can't get mad at that. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, man, I think we have got to start looking at ourselves better. You know what I'm saying? Start looking at ourselves and putting ourselves in self check at this point, because you know right now we losing. You know what I'm saying? And the most I help those that help themselves. So I don't believe in sitting back waiting on the Most High to deliver us and just sit back and be like, I just got faith. Because the Bible tell you, oh foolish man, don't you know faith without works is dead? You show me your faith without your works, I'll show you my faith by my works. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe in sitting back waiting on the Most High to give me nothing. I feel like I'm supposed to go out there and be willing to go take it, and then he gonna give me the strength to take it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's funny how you brought that up. They'll say, well, these people are criminals by nature. But if you go back to the 1920s, who was doing all the crime here in America? It was Irish gangsters, Jewish gangsters. But nobody said those
and
people were
Italian
born.
gangsters.
Yeah, no, and nobody said those people are born criminals. But all of a sudden, it's black and Latino men, and they're born criminals all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, you know, they didn't have a prison industrial complex back then. First of all, the second of all, they put together programs and services to help alleviate the need for white crime. I mean that's just the facts. You see what I'm saying? So, that's why we can't sit around and wait for these crackers to give us nothing. We can't sit back and wait for them to give us the programs and services. We got to create them ourselves. That's why I say the Most High helps those that help themselves. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta get off our butt and make some stuff happen, so we can, in turn, uh, see the progress that we need.
Word. Yeah. My favorite human of all time, man, is probably Malcolm X, to be honest. But Marcus Garvey's probably second after that, as far as the movement. What do you think? What do you think about Malcolm X?
I mean, I cut for Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? I cut for Malcolm. Uh, I mean, his parents were Garveyites, and you see it in his
That's right.
philosophy. You know what I'm saying? You see it in his stance as far as us coming together under one banner and chilling out with the beef, and you see it. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, it's that's what we got to focus on. You know what I mean? That's got to be our main thing. We got to focus on is unity. A house divided against itself can't stand.
That's right.
And I've been pushing this, and know what I'm saying. And you know what I mean. And even though I'm a Pan Africanist still, but I think we need to focus on Pan Americanism first. We need to get all our Black and Latino brothers. You know what I'm saying? And get them together and start working together and doing what we need to do. Not all Latinos, because all Latinos are not Afro Latino. You know what I'm saying? We know about Blanqueo when they brought white folks over to whiten out the population. We know about them pushing, especially if you like in Mexico, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras. But you know what I'm saying? They pushed the blacks to the Pacific coast side because they want to take the best land, which was most of it was on the Caribbean side. So they pushed a lot of the blacks to the Pacific coast side. That's why you get the blacks in La Costa Chica, Mexico, on that backside of Mexico. So uh, we gotta know that uh, we gotta unify with our Latino brothers that's in Central and South America and the Caribbean. We got to get with our brothers and sisters in the Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Trinidad, Brazil. You know what I mean? And we gotta all come together and realize we the same. We got more in common actually, and a lot of people get offended when I said it, but it's the truth. Uh, based upon the admixture with Native and European, we got more in common with our brothers and sisters in Latin America and the Caribbean than we do in Africa, just based upon admixture. You see what I'm saying, with the Native and European ancestry. So we gotta focus on coming together with each other first. You see what I'm saying, and we'll earn the respect of the brothers and sisters in Africa who going through the same thing. You see what I'm saying, and then we can because Africa got all the resources. You can't cut off Africa.
Word
You
up.
know, so I was having this discussion with a brother not too long ago, and he was in the One West camp. Well, I forgot what camp he was in, but I was trying to explain to him: you cut off Africa, you have no resources.
No, you're absolutely right, because I seen a video. I'm gonna go and find that video so I can link y'all. But in this video, they're talking about if the biggest threat to the American economy is Africa, right? Africa has all the resources, diamonds, gold,
Exactly.
oil. If and here's why they want us to hate the African man. This is my opinion. If Africa connects with the black man in America and they build something bigger than, let's say, Black Wall Street, imagine that on steroids. If we got material coming in from Africa to black communities, how big would that be?
Exactly. That's why you know what I'm saying. You'll see, like 1967, 68, they came up with Memorandum 46, where they said they wanted to keep black nationalist groups separated from Africa. Well, right after that, you know what I'm saying. I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but you start seeing that you can start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. You
Yeah,
see what
yeah.
I'm saying? They
What
start
up?
creating, you know what I'm saying? They started hitting us with stuff that was anti-Africa because they knew if we united with them, it was a wrap. You see what I'm saying? Because they know they need Africa got the oil,
Yep.
Africa got the coltan, diamonds, gold, silver, everything. They got everything.
That's
You see what I'm
if
saying? So they had to hit us with stuff that was gonna be anti-Africa because that was the threat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know, linking up with people, other people ain't a threat,
yeah,
but
yeah.
us linking up with the continent is a threat.
If you look back into Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was Black Wall Street, the economy there was so good that they actually were competing with major corporations at the time. I mean,
Exactly.
Black Wall Street had their own airport, their own banks. Yeah, man, it's crazy when you think about it. Now imagine that plus the backing of Africa. That would be huge, dude.
Exactly. Because they know Black Americans got the know-how and we understand the enemy. So if we take our understanding of how white folk work, how they think, how they move, we take that, then we flip it. You see what I'm saying? And we flip what we know about white folks on white folks. And then we start use the resources of Africa to use that to build up our economy, you know what I'm saying, and do international trade. So now we can create our own ships and we can do this, that, and the third. Africa has its own car. So guess what? If we start buying that car that they produce in Nigeria as opposed to buying a Honda or buying whatever, now we can upset the whole economic balance in America. It'll be a total power shift. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We'll have
Right.
access to the raw coltan to build our own cell phones. We'll have the raw access to the raw materials to build our own cell phone towers. We got the brother in Nigeria. I employ everybody to subscribe to Planet Vortex. You know what I'm saying? My boy Lex created his own Facebook thing. If you don't want to get on Lex stuff, go to Black Spot. He uses all Nigerian servers. You see what I'm saying? So we got to start looking at others, and if we start linking up with our brothers and sisters in Africa that got the resources, then we become a viable threat. But first, we got to start focusing on building our own infrastructure here in America
Word
to
up.
the point where we have our own communities where we can actually practice group economics. We can't have economic summits, but not discuss how to rebuild our community so we can actually practice the group economics.
Word. It also takes it back to Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein and all them. They wanted an African-based currency. Imagine how big that would have been, D-Red, on a massive scale. That's not even just a country. That would have changed the global economy, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was gonna create a central bank and back it with the resources in the land. It would upset the whole world's. You're right. It would upset the whole world's economy. You know what I mean, so what would the dollar would have been useless, the euro and the pound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So would it, I mean, shoot, the yen, all that stuff would have been useless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why Gaddafi had to go. The only problem I had was the fact that he was an Arab trying to make himself provisional president of Africa. I wasn't really feeling that.
Word up. I was about to ask you about that because not to take away from Gaddafi, because even if his intention wasn't to help Africa per se, he would have made that change possible. So I look at it, Gaddafi as a good person, but he was like an opportunist. He saw an opportunity to be the ruler of Africa, and he took it.
Exactly. That's pretty much all it was, brother. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That's all it was. I mean, but had he done it, it still would have been a power move.
Huge.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what we got to think when it comes to us organizing. We got to think in the terms of power moves. What moves can we make that's gonna put us in a powerful position? We got to start thinking military strategy, military science. We got to go study that. We got to go study and go read books like The Grand Chessboard by Zbigniew Brzezinski. You see what I'm saying? We got to go read books like the Confessions of an Economic Hitman. We got to go read these type of books so we can understand how geopolitics works. And once we understand how geopolitics works, we can know how to and read that in conjunction with stuff like Blueprint for Black Power, Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth. You know what I'm saying? And then when you superimpose the Bible on top of it, you know what I'm saying? Because Black Wall Street was built on off biblical principles of not charging the brother usury and not charging the brother interest on the loans that you gave him. So what it did was allow the brother to borrow money to start a business and pay it back and not have to pay an exorbitant price. So we got to go back to that. So and we have to understand that we got to go study J.B. Stratford and O.W. Gurley and find out what I mean, how they went and did what they did, realize where they went wrong and correct it. So
absolutely, D-Ray. I want to get with you on a different level, bro. We're about to get onto some conspiracy shit, right? Why do you think? Because they wanted to kill Malcolm X from the beginning. I mean, Malcolm X, like you said, his parents were Garveyites. His movement was too big as well. He realized the bullshit of Elijah Muhammad. He said, "Fuck this." What was the final straw? He did say he wanted to take the treatment of Black people to the United Nations. He was going to meet with Martin Luther King.
Well, he did meet with King. You know what I mean? He did meet with King. I mean, people make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, you're right.
People make a big deal out of him taking shit to the United Nations. That shit don't mean shit. The United Nations already said we deserve reparations. Have we got it? So everybody he was gonna take it to the UN and make it a human rights issue. The United Nations ain't got no damn power. Not now, at least. They didn't have none back then either. They didn't have no power to do nothing, man. I mean, the United Nations was talking about sanctions and Judge George Bush. If he went into Iraq, he still went in that motherfucker. They don't got no damn authority. They ain't got no damn military.
Word.
And so as far as Malcolm, when he met with King, they was going to start their own movement, and they was going to let Sam Cooke finance the movement. You know what I'm saying? Which would have took the money, the movement's direction out of white folks' hands, and that's what did them in. Just point blank period. And I mean, white folks, J. Edgar Hoover meant what he said. There won't be a black messiah unless I give him one.
Word, he did say that.
So we got to understand that. Shoot, that's what they had to bump both of them off. You see what I'm saying? Like King was like brother Steve Coakley, rest in peace, brother the teacher Steve Coakley. He told you that King became international. He started speaking out against the war of Vietnam and all of the other stuff. support Muhammad Ali, support Muslims. That was he wasn't supposed to be doing all that. You see what I'm saying? Now this was after King went. King grew up. His father was a Garveyite. See, people don't understand. The people that started the civil rights movement, all them people were Garveyites. They just got misguided along the way. I mean, because King went to that Highlander group training. Rosa Parks went to the Highlander group training. Rosa Parks grew up a Garveyite. You see what I'm saying? I knew her from my grandmother. So all those people were ex Garveyites. Their family was Garveyite. So they all had a black nationalist mindset. You see what I'm saying? And once King went back to that mindset, he became a threat, and they wanted to do him in.
Word, because and Dr. Umar doesn't stress it enough that Marcus Garvey's movement is probably the biggest movement for Black people there was for the liberation. Would you agree with that, or would you say maybe Nation of Islam?
Nah, I would say Garvey had like 15 million followers worldwide. The nation ain't that big. You know what I mean? It's big, but it ain't that big. You know what I mean? It lost a lot of esteem, actually. You know what I mean? Lately, because of the growth of the Israelite movement. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people are gravitating towards that. But the Nation of Islam is still a viable movement.
It's funny because I see a lot of people have within Black people, a lot of people have problems with the NOI, I guess. But I don't know, man. I love what the NOI did in the 90s, man, and in the 80s. If their whole time being a religion or whatever you want to call it, they've done a lot of good. And I've always seen them say what's on their mind. They'll say the Jew does this, the white man does that.
Hello.
What's your opinion on the NOI?
The NOI, man, I think the NOI is a viable group. You know what I mean? Anything. My thing is this. Our people have always been spiritual people, and we have got to stop this whole notion that our people weren't spiritual. That's first thing. So the NOI cleans up brothers. So
Word.
I can't say anything negative about an organization that can turn, you know what I'm saying, a pimp into something righteous, a drug dealer into something righteous, a killer into something righteous. I've seen the NOI clean up people in my brothers in my neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, and make them some stand up brothers. So
Word.
I would never speak out against something that can make take a brother from something negative to something positive. You know what I'm saying? So again, we got to start looking at the bigger picture here. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people speak out, you know what I mean, against these particular I don't like to call them religions, but I would call them deans or ways of life. People will speak out against them. However, they don't have nothing to replace it with. You see what I'm saying? Even Dr. Ben said, "Don't throw away the Bible unless you got something to replace it with." And he was the founding father of Black Kemetic theology.
They like to focus on negative, right?
Well, I don't even think they focus on the negative. If you ask me, I think that a lot of people don't read. I mean, my granddad used to tell me the best place to hide something from a nigga's in a book. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, because people will say like, I've heard, I was in comedic science, so I know all the arguments ad nauseum. They'll tell you our people never called themselves this and that. You know what I mean? They always say stuff like that. However, that's not true. You can go to Israel Hill in 1611. You see what I'm saying? You can go to when you study Dom what's that? The Alhambra decree. Go study the Alhambra decree. When they were talking about killing the Moors, and the first slaves they took was from Portugal. They took them. They were Moors and Jews. They sent them to America as slaves. You know what I'm saying? You got brother Stephen Graham who does groundwork. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like when you deal with people who actually do field research, not just talking, not just in the book, But people that, like I said, I've been to Africa and I've talked to the Israelites there that'll tell you they griot. You know what I'm saying? That predate their contact with Jews. You got Al-Idrisi, you know what I'm saying? The explorer from the 17, 1800s that tells you that about the Jews. You got the Tutsi Jews.
Yeah.
You got the Limba, who will tell you about their griot and their oral history. I mean, you got the philosophy.